Sorry for interrupting your breakfast time. I think the rain will die away very soon. But this also reminds me to let you know that tomorrow for our trip, please bring the coat. Okay, coat, not umbrella, the coat, because the maximum temperature will be less than 20 degrees in Celsius. Okay, maximum will be less than 20. Okay, less than 20 degrees in Celsius. It's much more humid, but for me it's very comfortable. Okay, and also would like to remind you that for your group report, either the final report or the travel report, it depends on you if you would like to mention you are responsible for which part. Okay, which part you are responsible for. If you do not, I take it as an integral part, so you'll get the same mark. Okay, if you plagiarize, if you have plagiarism, I think the whole group have plagiarism. Okay, so it depends on you if you would like to indicate you are responsible for which part. Okay, any problem, or can you understand what I mean? Okay, then I think we have an excellent presentation before, and here they mentioned 3 issues, but it would be better if you just focus two or one of them, but it's still very good presentation, I have to say. First of all, they mentioned groups 5 and 6 mentioned the issue of you use the term whale slaughter, but I change it as whale overhunting. Okay, why I change this word? Because are there any vegetarians here? I believe there are some. Okay, as long as we eat meat, okay, we have to kill the animal. Okay, so every time when we kill the animal, it's cruel. Okay, for all of us. If you are asked to kill the animal before eating them by yourself, you won't do that. Okay, how about so? For us, it's we take it for granted that we eat pig, we eat pork, okay, we eat beef, okay. But how about dog, okay? And this is related to the culture, okay. For me, there isn't anything that is more that we should protect it more rather than other different kinds of animals. But the problem here they mentioned is, I think, is mainly because why we have this kind of international conventions to regulate the whale. That's because we may overhunt. We may have overhunted whales. Okay, and this may affect the food chain. Okay, that's the reason why we have different kinds of conventions regulating some species that faces extinction. Okay, 濒临绝种的. Okay, it's not because when we kill whale that we find it very cool. Okay, when we kill animals, that's always very cool. Okay, the second issue that you have mentioned is the radiation problem, and this may we found this problem especially after the earthquake many years ago in Japan. I think this is also the major concern for many Taiwanese people, especially for this generation. Okay, for younger generation to doubt the safety of the nuclear power plant. Okay, it really depends. For the countries that have regular or frequent earthquakes, I think this would be a problem. But also this kind of nuclear energy has been used generally safely in Europe, especially in East Europe. And I think one of the reasons is that they generally do not earthquakes. Okay, even they have earthquakes, the scale is very low. Okay, I read the news when I was in the UK. They said that today in my city, in the area where I live, we have earthquake, but the scale is just 2. Okay, 2 for us is piece of cake. Okay, we normally have 5, 6, or 7, and the day before yesterday, maybe you have read the news. There's an earthquake 7, okay, in Sichuan province in China. Okay, so for us to consider safety of nuclear power plants, we may have different feelings if we use it in the earthquake area. Okay, for example, the Pacific Rings countries, for example, Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, okay, and other countries. But there is for Europeans, okay, maybe most of land think it's safe unless you have fault design. For example, the Chernobyl accident that we have seen many years ago in Eastern Europe. Okay. By the way, I would like to mention that if we have an earthquake in when you stay or when you live in this campus, it would be better for you to. I believe many CCU students have heard of it. It would be safer for you to stay in the building rather than going out. Do you know the reason why? Okay, because the buildings are very normally well built. Okay, because when we choose why we have this campus in Jiayi County, initially probably 30 years ago when the government decides where we should have this new university in southern Taiwan, there are 3 counties. They hope that this new university can be built in their county. But why we choose this area? Why we choose Minxiong Township? Okay, there's a story because there's a temple. I believe many CCU students all know that there's a temple. Okay, that temple has large amount of land. Why the temple has large amount of land? Because during the Japanese colonial period, farmers feared that the Japanese government was going to expropriate their land, to take their land. Okay, so many farmers donate their land to the temple. Okay, so the temple has large amount of land, and this temple, okay, they say that if the government decide to build this university in this township, we'll give you for the whole campus, we'll give you half of them. I'll give you for free. It's true, okay. And the other half, okay, we just sell it in the normal price, in a fair market value. So it is decided to build this campus here. But the problem after this decision is that we found there's a fault across the campus. Okay, 有个断层. So that's the reason why you can see that in the buildings in this campus are normally very magnificent. Okay, and we have considered the earthquakes. Okay, so people always say that it's safer for you to stay inside, stay indoor rather than going outside. Okay, if we have earthquakes here, and especially, for example, if you see the stadium, right, and the buildings looks very special, or our administrative building, they have considered the earthquakes and the maximum that the buildings can suffer are normally very high. I mean the scales, The third issue about food waste. Okay, food waste is also an energy waste. Why? Have you mentioned this? I think you have mentioned this. Because we use lots of energy to produce food. Okay, we use oil to produce. We need machines to grow food. Now machine has replaced human labor. But if we produce this food, but we do not use it, we do not eat that, then this becomes a energy waste. And this also contributes to global warming. Okay, as you have mentioned before, and we saw the movie 2 days before, cows, okay, animals release methane. What is methane? Methane means kind of one of the greenhouse gases, 甲烷, okay. These contribute to global warming as well. Okay, so how we deal with this kind of food waste? Law can't regulate everything. Okay, it depends on. I think this relies on consumers' habits. Okay, eat not as much as you can eat. What you can eat. Eat what you really need. Or, for example, we consumers normally do not like the vegetables or fruits that looks not pretty. Okay, they looks ugly. Okay, so I just read news that some supermarkets in Europe, they decided to use these not pretty fruit to make juice and sell it in a lower price to encourage consumers to buy it. Okay, and the other way I think is well, also for our health concerns, have less meat. Does it make sense? Have less meat, especially red meat. Okay, what is red meat? Like red meat, beef, the first one. And what is white meat? 白肉跟红肉. Okay, understand? White meat means chicken or fish or dog belongs to red meat. Okay, because statistics, okay, scientists say that it's not good for our health. We still can have them, but we can have less. Okay, I think this is another way to deal with this. If we need less meat, we don't have to feed so much cows and for them to release greenhouse gases into the air. Okay, it's also good for our health. Okay, so this is the basic, very brief comments about our groups 5 and 6 talking about food, and here we have another 4 groups talking about. And okay, coincidentally, both of you are going to talk about energy issues. Okay, so now let's welcome groups 1 and 2 first. Thank you.
Okay, good morning everyone. We are group 1 and 2. I'm Yonglin and this is Yuya, Peiyun, and Yuxuan. And today our topic is energy and this is our life. First, we are going to introduce our topic, and we will talking about nuclear problem and if we want to keep or remove the nuclear. And then finally, we will conclude our topic. And first, why we want to choose this topic? Because when we saw this is topics on the slide Monday, and the first image flashed through our mind is the Fukushima, the disaster of nuclear power plants, and we think Taiwan has also facing the same problem of nuclear safety. So we think this is the topic that is nearly close to our daily life. So we chose this topic. But why this topic is important in nowadays? Because this month there is an electricity tower collapsed by typhoon in Hualien, and the news report that this electricity tower transport the electricity which produced by Heping electricity plants in Hualien, and this applied lots of power to Big Taipei City, but the local people, they have against this power plants for a long time because it uses fossil fuel and it causes lots of air pollution. So this is a question that if we want to keep modern daily life, we need to use lots of electricity power, but it will cause lot of pollution, air pollution, if we want to use fossil fuel. Or we use nuclear, but it's also caused another question because it has a safety problem. So next, welcome to Peiyun.
Hello, I'm Wu Pei from CCU, and now I'm going to talk about the nuclear situation in both Japan and Taiwan. And this is Japan. And this picture is the nuclear plant's location and then in Japan. Japan is the fourth biggest country to use nuclear. The biggest country is United States. Second is French, and third is Switzerland. And Japan's nuclear plants provide above 30% electricity to use. And as last group mentioned, 311 Fukushima nuclear disaster is the serious accident in Japan. In 1986, Chernobyl nuclear disaster in Russia is very serious, and this 311 Fukushima nuclear is another serious disaster in Japan. And this disaster is caused by the earthquake, and the earthquake caused the tsunami. Okay. And this person, Hanodo, he stopped all nuclear plants working because he thought that nuclear was not so safe. But this person, Abe Shinzo, because if Japan don't use the nuclear, then where the electricity from? Japan have to buy the energy from another country, and that costs money. So this person decide to start using nuclear. But some Japanese, they did not agree this policy because they still think that the nuclear is not so safe. So how about Taiwan? This is the Taiwan nuclear plant's map. The nuclear plant 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 nuclear plants in Taiwan, and because the Fukushima nuclear disaster, so Taiwan rethink about our nuclear plant. Is it really safe to use? So some people, they said that Taiwan don't wanna be the next Fukushima. And this is the anti-nuclear protest in Taiwan. And this picture is where we put our nuclear waste. We can see that we put the nuclear in nuclear 1, 2, 3 plants, and also we put nuclear waste in Lanyu. Lanyu is the island of Taiwan. And we are really worried that if we put our nuclear waste in plant, maybe if there is an earthquake, and maybe we will become the next Fukushima. But can we put our nuclear waste in Lanyu City, Lanyu Island? This is Lanyu. It's a beautiful island. And the people there most are Aboriginal people. And they enjoy their environment. They see the mountain there are so beautiful. But we decide to put the waste there. Like this. And this is the headline news the day before yesterday. Now Taiwan, we have electricity shortage because it's hot summer now. So some people said, maybe we use nuclear, then we can deal with this problem. So this is the issue now, still an issue in Taiwan.
My name is Liu Yuxuan, and I'm going to talk about the policy of nuclear power. And we all know that nuclear power is the controversial issue. And someone will say yes, and someone will say no. The price of the electricity the price of the electricity and how safety is the nuclear power plant and how to deal with the waste will be considered into the discussion. And so I want to talk about the policy of nuclear power in some country. First, let's take a look which country decide to keep the nuclear power. Actually, most of countries will continue using nuclear power because it's economic. And I just take the USA and China for example. The USA, they think the nuclear power can be used under the promise of safety, and they will not take the nuclear power out of table, which means they will continue using the nuclear power. And in China, there are many nuclear power plants there. And in 2015, there are 10 nuclear power plants starting to using in the world, and 8 of them are in China. So it's just a new nuclear power plant, so they will continue to using it. However, there are some countries deciding to remove the nuclear power from their country. In 2011, Germany, Switzerland, and Belgium claimed that they will abolish the nuclear power from their country in the future, but maybe it's 10 years to 20 years after, because it needs time to find a replacement. And the most interesting one is France. France is a country which is definitely rely on nuclear power. The electricity amount that France produces from the nuclear power plant is only second to the USA. And they can even sell electricity to other countries because of the nuclear power. But now they changed their policy. In 2014, they passed a bill that they want to reduce the ratio of electricity which is made by nuclear power. The reason they want to reduce the amount is not because they think nuclear power plant is dangerous, but because they think you have paid a lot to maintain the safety of the nuclear power. And I think this is a problem we can think about it, because maybe after 10 years, both Japan and Taiwan's nuclear power will be older. And we want to spend money to renew the equipment or maintain the equipment, or we want to find other replacement energy. Okay. And in brief, each country has different answer about the nuclear power. But we all know that if we want to remove or abolish the nuclear power, we have put emphasis on what can replace the nuclear power. So the next part, we want to talk about the green energy.
Hello, my name is Yuya, and I'm going to talk about, I'm going to ask a question. Besides nuclear, what other energy can be used? Does anyone know? There's the answer.
Solar power.
Yes.
Wind power.
Call that. Yes. Yes, thank you. I'm going to talk about green energy, and do you know what green energy is? Well, she just mentioned it's like wind power, solar, and other water power, biomass, hydrogen, and so on. And green energy is used by us on our daily life. So, such as water and wind. We use it every day. And in Germany, Germany is using almost 100% of green energy, besides nuclear, such as wind and solar. Compared to Germany, Japan has only half the users using solar and wind. So it is not really popular in Japan yet. In Taiwan, the government says that the percentage of the hydroelectric power, which is like water powered, will be increased to 8% to 15%. No, 60. So in Taiwan, hydroelectric is really not that popular yet also. In Taiwan, the main resource of the power is the solar and the wind. It is because Taiwan has a sunny subtropical climate that is useful to solar power. And also the wind is not that strong, so it will not break the wing of these wind-powered plants. And next, I want to talk about what are the benefits. In Japan, we say "riten." And should I ask another question? What do you think the benefits are? Does anyone know? Joey, do you know? 리텐は何かって。
No waste. No waste.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yes. The benefits is that less carbon dioxide and less damage to the environment. So, if we use green energy more than nuclear, there will be less disasters and we can save the environment. Next, we are going to talk about the conclusion.
Okay, thanks, Yuya. But we're talking about nuclear power and green energy. But then I have some question about green energy as well, because green energy cannot afford our power using nowadays. So, but I have a question if we want to keep or remove the nuclear power. But before answering this question, we can solve what international society decide or their thoughts by international law. This international energy charter is the 3 of the energy law on the international society nowadays, and it's signed at 2015. So we can see in Title 1 objective, the third is talking about energy efficiency and environmental protection. And it thinks nations have to encourage clean and efficient use of fossil fuels and promote the sustainable energy. And as for nuclear energy, it's talking about nations have to achieve and maintain a high level of nuclear safety. As you see as the slides, you can see that international society think that now country use nuclear power is decide for themselves, but they put their main point on you can't they put their main point on carbon dioxide CO2. Yes, CO2. Yes, they put their main point on CO2. It's not on nuclear itself or not. They want nations to protect environments, but then they still they don't care about if you use nuclear, you will facing dangerous or safety problem. And as for SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, at the 7, it's also talking about the nation have to produce or promote renewable energy or efficient energy, but they're still not talking about whether country can use nuclear energy or not. So we can see that international society, they don't decide country it's good for country to use nuclear energy or not. They put their hope at we have to put money on research on research new technology because they think the main point for our goal is that we have to care about climate change, such as CO2. They think we can have new technology to break the discussion of keep nuclear energy or not. Like nuclear fusion, it's not like nuclear fission. It's more safety than nuclear we're using now. So our conclusion is that international society think that we can have new technology to break the question about keep or remove nuclear plants. So this is our presentation. So do you have any question now? Okay, no, thank you.
Here I would like to show you some figures that you may, even for Chinese people, you may have never known that before. If you Google, if you find Thai power What is Tide Power? Okay, Taidian. Okay, there's a station, metro station called Tide Power Building Station, Taidian 大楼站. Okay, if you look at the Tide Power company's website, you can find the percentage of different energies that has been used in Taiwan so far, and every degree. Okay, every degree we have to pay how much for each degree. Okay, so far 70% is used for our energy. 70% of them are from coal fire or oil. Okay, or even gases. Okay, and in each degree we have to pay around 1.7 or 1.8. Okay, $10. Second is nuclear. Okay, in theory or officially we said this accounts for around almost 20%, and the price is quite similar. Okay, 1.7 or 1.8. The third one is the renewable power. Okay, renewable energy. You can find there are different kinds of, for example, hydro. Okay, 水力发电. Okay, second one is solar, wind, or thermal. What is thermal? 地热. Okay, but the expense is higher. In average, we have to pay around 3 blah 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 for this, or especially for solar. So far, it's higher. It's around $8 per degree. Okay, so this is quite an interesting statistics for you, and maybe we have a problem. We have a question. Why the European countries can decide to, for example, for some countries to decide not to use nuclear power plant? Why? Because is it more greener countries? There's quite a significant different situation comparing many Asian countries. That's because in European continents, if they do not have enough energy, they can buy energy from their neighboring countries. Okay, so if one country produces more electricity, they can sell it to your neighbor country. So you do not necessarily have this kind of nuclear power plant. Okay, this is one of the reasons that Germany can decide to reduce because in the times of emergency they can buy it from their neighbors. Okay, so but this is not the case for many Asian countries. We normally lack the natural resources, so we have to buy it from other countries. And the issue that we have to decide is, as I said before, if we think this is not safe, okay, to some extent it may not be safe. And what's the available alternatives? Okay, and if we decide use it, how we deal with this waste, nuclear waste. For example, as you have mentioned before, we put the waste in the island in literally we call it Ocha Island. Okay, 蓝屿 Ocha. What is Ocha? 兰花. Okay, Ocha Island is along the east coast. There's an island for Taiwanese Aboriginal or indigenous people, and we find there's an issue called environmental injustice. Okay, what is environmental injustice? 环境不正义. Okay, this means that normally Aboriginal people live their life, they do not need so much energy. But how come we Han Chinese or Han Taiwanese can put our waste in there? Okay, so people say that we should distribute our energy waste proportionally into different counties. Okay, if Taipei City use more, okay, you use 20%, we put 20% waste in your city. Okay, and for the counties that use less, okay, Hualien use 1%, okay, put 1% waste there. So there's a problem if we decide to use it, and if we decide not to use it, okay, if you would like to, if you are willing to pay higher prices, okay, you can't eat fish without having bones in it, okay. That's the dilemma, as I said before, and just give you some ideas about this, and of course do not have any answers, but it really depends on us. Okay, we have to think issues in an integrative manner. We can't just say that I don't like this one, but I need cheaper energy as well. Okay, Taiwan has probably one of the lowest. We have to pay amounts of money that we have to pay for the power or the electricity. Taiwanese people pay one of the lowest. Taiwan is one of the lowest countries for buying powers. Okay, for people to buying powers. It's the same for buying waters, and this contribute to energy waste again. Okay, but even if we increase the prices, but industry still needs power. Okay, so it's not an easy question for us to answer. Here we have 10 minutes break, and then we have to put the other two groups for next hours. Okay, then we'll be back on 10 past 11.